Okay, so we're going to look at the FS250 brush cutter from Stihl. So I've had this sort of 3 years now. It's had quite a bit of use in that time. Several acres of land that I cut through each year several times. It's a brush cut, so yeah, it gets a fair bit of use. And just showing the harness and helmet that I use. There's a Stihl harness. Brush cutter clips in there, and then the weight of the brush cutter is taken up through your shoulders and your hips, rather than on your arms all the time. And then I use my chainsaw helmet when I'm brush cutting as well. And as you can see, you get an awful lot of stuff flying into your face and on your head. So it's yeah, it's always good to have a face guard on. So with the FS250 I've got several attachments for this. So I have the steel blade here, as you can see. That's useful for yeah, if you're trying to cut through anything that's pretty tough, any bushes, any real juicy weeds like thistles, etc. It gets through those really easily. The next one down from that is the Stihl Polycut. So what you have there is you have three plastic blades, replaceable blades, and that'll cut through your thick grass. It'll go through your small thistles, but if you hit a stone or anything, that thing, yeah, it's going to destroy the plastic blades. And then the third head that I've got that I use the most is the auto feed. And same thing, I've tried a variety of lines on this. So I've used the Oregon 3mm line, the Stihl Red 2.7, and then the 2.7mm Stihl line, which has a bit of a profile and a twist to it. So with this unit I don't get the issues that I get on the 450. So on the 450 the auto cut actually binds up. So I think the 450's got that much extra torque that it actually pulls those lines tight inside the unit. I don't get that issue with this one. So the 250's a little bit less powerful, a lot lighter, but a little bit less powerful, and seems to be a bit more forgiving on the equipment. The FS250 is an overall excellent brush cutter. Power to weight ratio is absolutely perfect. The saw feels very good in your hands, and if you're ever having to take it out of the harness and actually just hold it with your hands when you're going up something really steep like this, you can actually do that quite easily with the FS250. The 450 is a lot different. It's yeah, it's a lot heavier and a lot less easy to, or not as easy to manhandle. There's a couple of things with the FS250 that I don't like. This is a second piston that I've had in it, so I've only used it a short period of time, and yeah, it's seized up. Still shop advised that it was some bad fuel. I don't know, I'm not so convinced, because I use the same fuel in my chainsaws and my other brush cutters and didn't have an issue. But anyway, they did a good deal on putting in a new piston. The other thing that I find with this is ergonomically it's not that comfortable when you're using this for hours. The trigger arrangement, the thing they could do is tidying that up a little bit. It makes your hands ache. As you can see, after quite a bit of use, this is already starting to wear out, which is to me is a sign that this is very sort of cheap steel. That's where the harness connects to it. Now you can buy replacements of those, that's no problem, but yeah, for a brush cutter that's going to live in a harness, you'd think the harness connection would be a lot stronger than it is. And then the other thing which is quite annoying on this saw, the connection, or the button there that takes you from choke to no choke. Regularly find when I'm brush cutting that gets flicked to choke, so you're in a run setting, and when you're brush cutting with a harness on and you're swooping from side to side, yeah, I've done this more than 10 times where it's ended up just pushing that over, it applies choke and then the engine stalls. So they could do with doing something make that a little bit less likely to get knocked. So when you consider from that connection point to here is quite small on the FS250. The distance from here to there is a lot bigger, and I've never had that issue. One last issue that I've had with the 250, so if you can see, the actual motor is twisted and not in line with the handles. It's not a case of the handles are out of whack, because they're perfectly in line with the cutting head. There's actually play in here. Now we've tried tightening this up. What we find is this is plastic. That's plastic thread. So you've got plastic thread, trying to clamp down onto a steel shaft. So again, that's not a good outcome. There's no way that was ever going to last a long time. Not a big issue because now it's relatively tight and just sort of sits there. You don't get much twist really, but yeah, it's far from ideal. If you want to clamp something, you really should be using metal, steel threads to clamp something, not plastic threads. But overall, absolutely brilliant brush cutter.